Hello and welcome to week 3 of our League Pick'em video series. My name is Chris, and joined with me is my one-time Patch Review 2 partner and now my League Pick'em partner, Jason.
Great to be here, Chrissy. 2 weeks down. Week 2 had a lot of broken limbs around the NFL and also quite a lot of broken expectations, I would say.
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting week to talk about. I'm looking forward to getting into it. Anything you want to throw out first?
Not really. I mean, we can go through game by game because there were definitely a few where it seemed like the Buffalo Wild Wings refs were definitely in their full activity, just messing up every game they could
All
and
right,
keeping them really interesting.
let's start with the good news first. And for week 2, I went 9-7 in picks, and then Jason managed to go a disastrous, catastrophic, calamitous, cataclysmic 7-9 losing record for a week's worth of game, which I don't know if we'll be able to actually repeat for the rest of the season because of just how many upsets there were.
Yeah. I mean, anytime we're not getting, I'd say at least
Hold up,
11,
hold
right?
up.
Pretty bad week.
The more you interrupt me, the longer my grandstanding is going to take.
That's the idea here.
Okay, so just to refresh, that brings us to 21-11 on the season for me. So there's a new boss in town. I hold a slight lead over Jason with his massive fuck up last week, and he is 20-12 on the season. All right, that does it for our
You're a paper
overall
tiger, Chrissy.
picks. Let's get into some of the more interesting stuff. First off, yeah, we have the first game with the Bills and the Dolphins. We both picked the Bills on this one. And you have anything you want to talk about with that one? It was pretty bad. I actually thought it would be really competitive and not just because of Tua's concussion.
Do I want to talk about it? No, my journalistic integrity compels me to. Um, yeah, that was not even a bad hit that Tua took, and it is really sad to see a talented young man like that, take such a bad injury from it. Obviously, every time you get concussions, subsequent concussions are generally going to be worse. And I mean, you could look at that play. He probably didn't realize that he'd already gotten the first down for the team. It was fourth and like I don't know, maybe six. And so he was just running hard, trying to get the first down. Didn't realize he already had it, so he decided he was going to try and fall as forward as he could. Kind of just, fell gently into Damar Hamlin's groin. And the second that his head hit, oh boy, yeah, it did not look good for him. So that's really sad. Miami gave away Mike White at the end of the season. My chiropractor let me know that he's actually on Buffalo's practice squad, meaning that Miami could have picked him up just by basically bringing him onto the 53-man roster. Like, Buffalo doesn't get to keep him unless they're willing to put him on the 53-man.
All right, we
So,
can't spend that much time on each one of these.
yeah, Miami really should be going after Mike White, and I don't think Skylar Thompson is going to get it done. He looked awful after he came in relief of Tua, but just got to give Buffalo their flowers. They looked incredibly good
Yeah, I think the biggest
for
takeaway
the
is
sixth
just is
quarter
just
in a row.
is just how dominant they were before Tua got hurt.
Hmm?
I think the
Oh,
biggest
yeah. We were way down. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
next
Buffalo is Miami's kryptonite, and they're just a really good team in general.
next up, the first of many big upsets: the Raiders edging out the Ravens at home. That was pretty crazy. We both had the Ravens to win. Obviously, this is the first one we were both wrong about of many.
Yeah, so like to be my own apologist here, I think I did say I think this is going to be closer than it looks, and I did make a bet that won on the Raiders. But yeah, it's like with something like Pick'em, where it's like you don't get a spread, you don't get odds. I wasn't saying that the Raiders were 50% or higher to win. I just thought they were better than the odds makers thought they were.
If you didn't pick it, it didn't happen.
All right, there you go.
All right, next up, we've got the Chargers, who predictably dumpstered the Panthers.
What's there to say here? Carolina's looking like the worst team in the league.
Yeah, by far, actually, because it's surprising how much better New England actually looks to widen the gulf.
Yeah, And I mean, the Chargers can only beat who's on their schedule, right? They've had, they had a relatively good win last week. I think it was over the Raiders, right? And then this week they just absolutely dumpstered the Panthers. Good on them.
And now we have to get to the most painful one on this list. The Saints took the Cowboys to the absolute fucking cleaners.
I think Alvin
Yeah.
Kamara is getting battery charged with how hard he hit the Cowboys in the face.
It was very painful. We had a ton of drives, but we just couldn't convert. I mean, if they got a touchdown on a bunch of those field goals, it would have looked like a much closer game, but that's not what happened, and it was just ugly start to finish. The defense just completely went into a complete fucking coma after their performance last week.
Yeah, that was against Carolina though. Oh no, that was against Cleveland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Um, I mean, New Orleans and Derek Carr looking sneaky good. Like I know that the bigger story here is Dallas just completely collapsing. But honestly, the New Orleans offense looking sneaky good. After I don't think anybody thought they were going to do anything big. I certainly didn't.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, they looked good, but I think it was
Mhm.
more of the Cowboys underperforming.
I mean, they beat Carolina by 30 points or whatever in week 1.
Yeah, but they're dog shit.
Yeah, and they beat Dallas by 30 points or whatever in week 2.
But they're much less predicted to be dog shit. So,
Yeah, let's see what they do. I'm actually kind of excited for them.
all right, and then
All right,
next
we
up,
got to the one little win I had this week.
I was about to bring up the only thing he. Can you believe this guy actually does sports gambling? This was the only contested pick he had
Can you
right
believe he's
last
up
week.
lifetime?
Yes, he's the Bucks did beat the Lions, and I did pick the Lions to win this game. I'm impressed. The Buccaneers are definitely rolling harder than I thought they'd be doing already. I thought,
Absolutely.
yeah, one season under Baker, I thought it'd be like kind of a flash in the pan, but they're keeping it going.
Quality franchise, and I think Baker is way better than anybody, especially the Browns, gave him credit for. Detroit's a good team. They're just kind of capable of anything from greatness to folding.
And then another upset we had over here where we both predicted the Colts to beat the Jordan Loveless Packers. The Packers managed to win regardless, and the Colts couldn't even win that.
No love lost there. Yeah, this was really surprising to me. I didn't get to see this game yet, but and I don't even think that Jonathan Taylor had a particularly great day either. Uh, are you kind of up to date on how Indy won this one?
Well, I know how much smoke they're blowing up Anthony Richardson's ass on the first week, and now he just completely didn't show up in the second week. So I'm going to guess
Uh-huh.
he just didn't put in much of a performance for 10 points.
Was it just a great yeah.
You know, can't watch every game.
Oh, right. Yeah, I just had a complete just 6 second brain was not working. Right. The Packers won this by a lot, actually, right? It was
No,
pretty convincing.
just 10 to 16 to 10,
Okay,
which makes sense.
I think they were up by more for a while, and some of the Indy points might have been garbage time, but either way, yeah, no, you're right. That makes sense. Nobody on Indianapolis did real well. Yeah, good for the Packers.
And then next up, we have the first of my brilliant calls. He was talking mass shit last week that Deshaun Watson would just be completely incapable of a bounce back game, but the Bears did prevail
What
over
was it? Totally wrong.
the spiraling Jaguars. Chrissy was right.
This wasn't a Deshaun Watson victory here. This
He
was a Cleveland defense victory.
he played and they won. It might not have been pretty, but they got the upset, if you will.
Let me remind you, Tebow had a lot of wins in the NFL too. With I remember the one game where he was 2 for 8 with was it a 12 passer rating?
We don't need to talk about Tim Tebow.
All right.
You got anything to say about this one, or was it just an absolute fluke by the Browns?
Um, yeah, look, Cleveland's defense is pretty good. Um, I think the fact that they gave up 40 points or whatever to the Cowboys last week was more of the fluke. This is basically what I expected from the Cleveland offense. They're not real good. Good defense. That's all I got to say.
Next up, we've got a giant upset in the Vikings that beat the 49ers, and Mr. Darnold continues to impress.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Yeah,
think the Vikings would be capable of this one, but the Niners' injuries are also starting to stack up.
the Niners did not look that bad in this one. It was just like every once in a while they would need kind of a third or fourth down play and just kind of not convert on it properly.
I would posit for the
Uh,
Niners to only score 17, then they look bad. With how talented they are, they should be
mm.
like a perennial 25, 30-point
They
team or
really
something.
should. They're a great team, but I
Yeah.
mean, like, I did watch this game, and most of the time when they had the ball, it was like, oh yeah, they're moving it, and it was really mistakes more than just I don't know, Deshaun Watson level bad play. On the other hand, Vikings looked really good, spunky win, and I mean, to go toe to toe with a team like San Francisco, right? Even if you don't pull it off in the end, that's respectable. But what they were able to do, just consistently scoring throughout the game and stopping San Francisco. I mean, sure, it wasn't a blowout. They looked really good in this win.
All right. Next up, we got my second brilliant of the contested picks.
Oh, real brilliant! This
This,
was like a last-second field goal, dude. By your favorite team.
hey, you could have picked Seahawks, but you didn't, did you, boy? Nope, you
No, I
didn't.
went for the sexy pick.
Okay, well, the Seahawks did barely get by in overtime against the Patriots, but a W is a W.
Anything to say about it?
Uh, I think the Patriots under Gerard Mayo have been infinitely better than anyone's expectations. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Like I said, they're in a get out of rebuilding mode quick, and this is a team that can win with any cast of characters on the field.
I wouldn't go that
Too bad
far,
they
but
didn't
they have been
actually win.
good.
Too bad they didn't actually win in week 2. Seattle, really, really tough team to kind of like get to get your to put your finger on.
Did you say the Patriots didn't win this week?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
the Patriots didn't win this week.
Oh, okay. I'm brain dead. Never mind. You're right. I read that wrong for some. Like
I'm
it was
like,
a.
yeah, I said that because that's what's happened.
It was like Lee Sin moving up between 3 and -3 auto attack damage or something. Yeah. Okay, and then we move on to my final of the brilliant
Uh-huh.
contested picks. We've got Aaron Rodgers and his bounce back game. Now he's way better than Deshaun Watson, but Jason over
Way
here
better.
was talking
Yeah.
equally mass shit, if not more mass shit, about my boy. But at least it was a good showing by the offense, and Aaron had way better stat line than in the first week.
This was a really surprising win, especially how the first half was going. Tennessee has thrown 2 games in a row now.
Now, surprising if you know his little ballies too.
As far as Aaron Rodgers, he did look fine in this game. I don't think he looked brilliant or anything. He's still making a lot of passes to receivers that, while they may be open, don't have any room in front of them. So I don't know about that decision making, but yeah, he looks accurate. He's able to take hits. He's not breaking his collarbone every fourth time he gets touched. So yeah, better than I thought this week.
All right, and then rounding out there towards the end, we've got Toilet Bowl 2 over here with the Giants and the Commanders. And this was truly like a pathetic game. There were so many field goals, and the Redskins only just barely won this over the Giants, who are truly next level garbage.
I know that like when 2 teams play, usually one of them has to win. But I was really trying to figure out how we're going to square the circle and make it so neither of these teams win, because that's what should have happened with Giants and Commanders. Man, they're bad. 7 field goals ended up winning this game for the Redskins. Spoiler alert, I'm going to be picking against both of these teams in week 3.
Well, we'll get there when we get there. Next up, we've got the Rams, who were completely blown out by the Cardinals in kind of a surprisingly dominant game by them. But the Rams are absolutely stacking up mass injuries suddenly. It's absolutely crazy. Their season's basically already over.
It's the way that McVay plays his players. It is an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the ball, we have the House of Cards, that has thrown away so many big leads in the last year and a half, and managed to not only keep their 21-point lead once they gained it in the first quarter this week, but balloon it after that. Um, I don't think the Cards are for real, but I mean, they've really put up halves of games where they could convince you that they are.
Yep. We don't have to go into more detail about your Sean McVay hatred. Next up, we've got the Steelers, who just barely beat the barely even alive Broncos offense. The Steelers have done so little to win these games, but have such a great defense. It's kind of hard to tell where the Steelers even are, even though they're 2-0.
Good defense and special teams, almost make a fan, and especially the fantasy players like we are, think that there's nothing going on that team. But that's really a lot of how you can win the games, even in today's modern NFL. The quarterback situation is not as bad as we thought it was going to be. Pickens still looks really good. Um, it would be nice if Pittsburgh could find the end zone more often, but they are a sneaky good team. They really are.
And then on Sunday night, I did not watch this game, but I did listen to it, and I had kind of a bad headache. The Bengals just barely losing to the Chiefs. Such a disappointment. I was really rooting for the Bengals. We both did pick the Chiefs to win, go figure.
Yeah, this was a great game. Both teams played really well. The Bengals, if I remember correctly, actually could have slowed the ball down more near the end. I think it was they had Evan McPherson kick a field goal, and that put them either tied or ahead. And then Kansas City was able to get down for one more score.
My mistake. This was the afternoon game. Bears-Texans was the night game.
Mm-hmm. But this was a fantastic game. This was the one really fun game to watch in the late afternoon.
And then closing things out almost, we have the actual night game where we both picked the Texans to defeat the Bears. Was pretty close, but I do think the Bears are definitely trending up.
This was a much less fantastic game than the Bengals Chiefs was. Houston disappointed me a little bit, and honestly, had the refs not missed a bunch of dirty hits that they had laid on Bears players, I think Houston would have actually lost this game, knocking me out of my survivor pool. So I got lucky, and the Texans got lucky, and I do think that they're a very good team. But like you said, the Bears are trending up. Defense is fantastic. And offense really needs to do more because they didn't look great against the Texans defense either.
All right, and the final game of Monday night, my boy Kirk Cousins, the Jason is levied a Herculean amount of shit talk against, got the game-winning drive against those stinky Eagles. Oh, you were rooting for them. Talked up until they won. You were bullshit. Get out of here. Talking mass shit. The Eagles or the Falcons end up winning by one.
Where you think that Drake London is your Lord and Savior?
I never said he was Jesus. He just happened to be one of my receivers, dog. Got to pick someone. So the Falcons end up beating the Eagles by 1 point. Final drive of the game. It was funny enough is where they looked the slickest. The prevent defense again prevents nothing.
There you go. Prevent defense is something you should play when there's maybe 15 seconds left on the clock and their team has the ball on their 20.
Or when you're up by like
a minute on the field.
Or when you're up by like 3 possessions, not like 3 points. Yeah.
No, that's when you blitz.
Well, the prevent, it means you want to like tackle them inbounds, chew more of the clock, let them get so just to
but it's so easy. It's so easy against against soft defenses to run the to drive 60, 70 yards in 1 minute in today's NFL and get into field goal range.
Yeah, I was so happy to see Kirk get a bounce back game on his new team.
Yeah, I was just happy to see the overrated Eagles lose.
I didn't know you didn't like the Eagles. Why is that?
Yeah, I don't like any of the overrated NFC East teams.
Okay, like all 2 of them or something? I don't like any of those 2 teams in that 4-team group. All right. All right, that does it for week 2. That little segment went on a hell of a lot longer than it should have.
All right, and you haven't even discussed your prop bet, where you thought Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes in that fantastic game were combined for 5 interceptions.
Well,
They combined for 2 interceptions.
it was supposed to be absurd, and
It
to
was.
my credit, Mahomes almost never throws 2 in a game.
It's supposed to sound absurd, but you're supposed to try to be right.
I thought it was possible, and Mahomes has thrown more picks like the last 2 seasons than he had like his first 3 seasons. He's turned it over more the older he's gotten, and that's a fact.
Offhand, you know who had a lot of ints this week?
A lot of what?
Do you know who did have a lot of interceptions this week offhand? Like, who should have you said?
Oh, no, I mean, I don't know. If anyone had like 3 or 4, I don't know.
Yeah. And then my prop bet, I said CJ Stroud would have more yardage and more touchdowns in the entire Chicago offense. And this one came close to hitting. He had 260 something yards just passing compared to the entire Chicago offense. Passing and running only had 220. But they did have an equal 1 touchdown apiece.
Well, I commend you for calling something right this week, but I think
Oh.
with how weak the Chicago offense is, I almost feel like it wasn't a bold enough bet.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do better on the bold this week. Okay.
Okay, I don't even have one in mind, but I'll try to think of it while we're doing this.
All right. Better put your thinking hat on.
All right, this is like the first time I've kind of looked at this schedule straight up, so I'll be kind of just playing this by ear for the most part, and I kind of like to.
Oh, good.
I kind of like to improv my stuff. So first up, we got my boy Aaron going up against the surprisingly competitive Patriots, and I got to be honest. If I saw this before week 1 started, I would have been giving this to the Jets, but now it's like really tough because I'm still giving it to the Jets because I just got to give it to the superior quarterback play and probably a better defense. I'm sorry. I know you'll probably spite pick me. You go ahead, though.
Oh, I am so torn on this one. I think it's a really close matchup. I'm sure I'm gonna be taking the Patriots with the spread this week. Straight up, I feel like it's like 52-48 Jets. I'm gonna go with the Jets.
Well, pick who you think's going to win. If you think the Patriots got this, you tell me, man.
52-48. Like it hurts to take them, but I'm gonna take the Jets here.
All right, smart man copying me. Good job. You learned your lesson.
All right, now round 2 of the toilet bowl.
Oh, no, this isn't quite as bad, but you're right. All right, we got the Giants going to Cleveland, and I'm sorry, until Daniel Jones awakens from his coma, I just got to give it to that Browns defense. They were super good the last 2 years. I think they're still a great unit, and there's just no damn way, even with Deshaun Watson. They call him Deshaun Cosby. Deshaun Watson over here. I still think got to give it to Cleveland, man.
I think Deshaun Cosby is cosplaying as a competent quarterback, but yeah, we've got the New York Giants, who might be the worst team in the NFL. That are not named the Panthers. Cleveland's playing at home. At least they've got one side of the ball working. I've got to take Cleveland as well.
Damn right.
And it's going to be one of the few times this season that I do that.
Oh, they're not that bad. All right, next up we've got Chicago going to Indianapolis. Now this one's a little contested, not because I think they're both super good, but they're both also not super bad. This one actually has to make me scratch my head about things for a minute here. I think Chicago, even though it's a home game for the Colts, Chicago I feel like has more momentum right now. They have just more probably. I don't want to say something cliche, just more optimism, reasons to be positive. I have to go for the Bears this one.
Yeah, for me, this is an easy pick for the Bears. I believe Chicago's extreme strength on its defense is coming from the rush defense, if I'm not mistaken. And so basically they match up really well against Indianapolis, who's a team that wants to kind of dink and dunk and run the ball.
Yeah, it's just to say I don't think the Colts are hopeless. I mean, they were one game away from the playoffs last year. I don't think they were hopeless. I think there's plenty of time for the Colts to rebound. Right now, the Bears are just hotter. Not much hotter, though.
This is obviously not a matchup that we get a ton each year. But it's not like they're in the same division, and it's not like they're usually ranked the same at the end of the year. So they don't play each other too much. But I have a feeling that Chicago is Indy's kryptonite.
You might be right. All right, next up, we got a surprising banger over here. One of these teams has to go to 2-1 and another 3-0. We've got the Texans going to Minnesota. And yeah, the Vikings have been surprisingly stingy with the defense and pretty good with Mr. Darnold back there. I do think their luck will run out. I know they're super hot right now, but I just got to give it to the Texans. I just think they're the more complete unit right now.
Oh, damn. I thought we might go opposite ways on this one. Yeah, Minnesota's a great story, but I feel like Houston has more to prove after last game. Minnesota's kind of proven more than they thought they were going to already. Um, I just don't see Minnesota really being able to stop the passing offense of the Texans. I'm taking the Texans.
All right, next up, we got Philadelphia going to the searing hot Saints in New Orleans. And this one we might differ on because I think the Eagles are going to get their shit together. And I think they're going to bounce back and actually beat the Saints. And I think the Saints are going to be like taken back to earth. They'll probably still do really good, but I think they're gonna return from the stratosphere and find themselves in low orbit once again. They're not going to do bad, but I'm saying the Eagles are going to win this.
I'd say that the Eagles, they're a good team, but they're a really messy team.
Yeah.
And I think New Orleans is well equipped to take advantage of that. They can really punish mistakes. They've got an opportunistic defense, and they can just run the ball up your throat. I am gonna take the surprise pick of the New Orleans Saints.
I don't think it's too surprising with how well they've been playing. All right, next up, we've got the 2-0 Chargers traveling to Pittsburgh for the 2-0 Steelers. Another one of these. And which do you like with this one?
Yeah, this is actually a really tough one. I have not been able to see the Chargers play too much this season, and so I don't know if it's kind of the same old story with they play well in the early part of the season, they play well in warm weather, and then when they have to really put their nose to the grindstone, they fall apart, or whether it's a different Chargers team. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, just a very solid team. Kind of decent everywhere, good on defense. I don't know if they have the firepower to necessarily keep up with this year's Chargers. I want to see this game. I want to see more of it. I'm going to take the Chargers in a very close game.
Yeah, a lot of that makes sense. I do think the Chargers overall have more pieces, but I'm going to go out and limb and say the Steelers rub the two nickels together once again and somehow manage to pull the W out.
I like that pick. And you know what happens when you rub two nickels together? You throw a dime.
Perhaps. All right, next up we got the Broncos going to Tampa, and this one's looking pretty grisly for the
Oh yeah.
Broncos.
Not much to say here. Like the Buccaneers are definitely the team that seems better everywhere.
Yeah, I'm ashamed to say the Broncos were so dominant like most of my life, but man, ever since like Peyton Manning retired, they've just been like, you know,
A
it's
team that seems to live and die by its quarterback.
I don't really think they got it anywhere to be perfectly honest. I think if you slotted in someone much better, I think they'd still be struggling in multiple areas.
You think if you put like Matthew Stafford or someone like that, it's pretty good. At the helm there, they wouldn't be able to win in games.
I don't think they have great running backs. I don't think they have, big name receivers. My boy Cortland Sutton's your number one receiver. I don't think you're doing that hot. I don't think they have a good defense.
When your
No,
number one receiver is on Chrissy's fantasy team, you know
yeah.
it's bad.
In my defense, he's my flex player. He's not my 1 or 2 receiver. So
Oh
anyway,
shit.
yeah, they have way more problems than just a quarterback. They're in deep shit.
Yeah.
So
This is an easy pick. There's trap game potential, but
not this
I
one.
think even if the Bucks, land with their leg in your trap, like that, they're probably just going to be able to drag you across the finish line.
They could step on a bear trap, and then their opposing leg could step on a World War I era landmine, and they'd still pull
Oh,
this game out.
which one would be more painful?
Yeah, well, two limb status, they'd still win. Is my point.
Hmm.
All right, next up, we got the Packers going to Tennessee. Will the Packers make magic happen again? I don't know if how long Love is going to be out, but I assume he's going to miss this game too.
Put me on the spot here. I think the Titans are going to pull this off. I think that, like you said, there's kind of been magic in that no love Packers locker room, and I think that magic is going to run out. Tennessee, like I said, has been a team that's been able to put really good halves of games together.
I would have said the Colts were like a fair bit better than the Titans, and Packers could beat them.
I mean, we did both have the Colts last week, but I think the Titans looked better in that win than we even expected.
So you're picking the Titans?
Um, yeah, I'm picking the Titans.
Well, I for one don't think the Titans got whatever X factor you think they got. I think the Packers maybe they'll do really well. Maybe it'll be an ugly win. I think the Packers are going to win though.
All right.
I just don't think the Titans are a very good team right now.
They're not, but you look at the Packers. What do they really have?
Well, if they had Jordan Love back, we wouldn't even be talking about it because they'd basically have the pieces
Right.
they made to the playoffs with. So we'd be like, oh, they're good again. So
With love,
obvious.
I take the Packers.
So obvious. What?
I said with love, I take the Packers.
Uh,
Take Packers with love.
okay, yeah. Next up, we got the Panthers going to the Raiders, and with the Raiders like upset against the Ravens, you got to think maybe before last week I'd say that this was like a 70-30 game, but now Raiders have shown that they have much higher ceiling than probably people gave them credit for. So pretty hard to pick the Panthers.
This could be the wildest and funniest trap game on the planet. But I can't, in good conscience, take the Carolina Panthers in a straight pick 'em right now.
Yeah, and
Raiders, it is.
you'd be wise not to, unless they're
Yeah,
playing the Giants. And even then, I'd pick the Giants.
I would pick the Giants.
Okay. Next up, we've got the Dolphins in the now Tua-less against the Seahawks, who are 2-0. Knock, knock,
I don't see what you did there.
knock. And what do you think about this game? Can the Dolphins do fuck all with Skylar Thompson?
No, he was throwing footballs at herons in the last game. Um, Look, I'm sure that he probably wasn't getting a lot of first team reps, and now he will. We've seen Skylar Thompson appear to be a competent quarterback in the past before disappointing us. I don't think he's the guy. We're not at home. The Dolphins play a lot better at home. In Seattle, Geno's better than anybody thought. This is honestly the best Geno we've seen since the days of Super Mario RPG. And so I have to take the Seahawks in this one, and I don't even think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I agree. But even in that game they lost to Buffalo, that Acne guy was doing super well. But
Devon Chain?
whatever the hell his name is, David Acne. What the hell's his name?
Acne.
Whatever. He's a lot more like Alvin Kamara type guy. So he looked impressive, even in a bad loss.
Okay, yeah, he's gonna be a Hall of Fame running back if he can stay healthy.
That's a tall order.
He put up an average. He put a rushing average of I think 7.3 yards per carry last year.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, that's just absolutely freaking unheard of.
Yeah.
It's just unheard of.
Even more impressive was how well Raheem Mostert did while he had that production also.
Oh yeah, yeah. My friends was like it's lightning and faster lightning.
Yeah, the ability for both of them to be so productive is crazy.
Yep. Obviously, you got to give a lot of credit to the line. They're great when Teron Armstead is healthy, but But really, like both of them are special, and Mostert is, he's over the hill in his career. He's still very good. Uh, Devon Chain is just starting out in life. It's so great to see.
So you're definitely picking the Seahawks?
I'm definitely picking the Seahawks.
All right, so am I. All right, next we got Detroit visiting the Cardinals, and I don't care how well you say Kyler is, I say he's not the real deal. That might have been a great game over an ailing Rams team. I'm saying the Lions will definitely bounce back and appear dominant once again against the Cardinals.
I'm not entirely sure. I think Detroit is another one of those teams that does a lot better at home than they do on the road. Um, I'm not convinced that the Cardinals are for real yet.
That's what
They
I
they
said.
have the pieces, they just haven't put them together. And look, Detroit is the same team, if not better, than we saw. Make it to the NFC championship last year, despite the fact that Sean McVay handed them the path there.
Okay. It always comes
Yeah,
back to Sean McVay somehow. Shit.
I'm taking the Lions.
Me too. All right. And in another crucible of a game for my Cowboys, the Ravens are coming to Texas to play the Cowboys. And I don't care if they're 0-2. I still think the Ravens are for real. They've had some very, very close games, both those losses. I don't think 0-2 even remotely really shows how good they still are. It breaks my heart, but just if the Saints can do that to the Cowboys, I have to believe a more consistent and well-rounded Ravens will probably not put as many points on the Cowboys because I think their defense will rebound somewhat, but it breaks my heart, but I think I have to pick the Ravens over the Cowboys. It breaks. I'm dying over here.
Oh, I thought I was going to score an easy point on you with your homer attitude there.
I'm a
Yeah,
realist too.
in the ball dog game, I'd say the Ravens have a better chance. Look, CeeDee Lamb goes off. Like the Cowboys can do it. This is as far from an impossibility,
I think they
but
can win. Yeah,
I don't think the Cowboys are going to get it done this week, and I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens.
I'd put it like 60-40. I think the Cowboys could win, but they tend to play up and down to their opponent, whatever that means for every week. I think they could win. I just think the Ravens are more consistent right now, even if they
Did
lost
they
both those games.
did they play down to the Browns last week?
I guess not. I mean, the Browns are like really good on one side of the ball, really bad at the
Mm,
other. It's kind of a
mm,
hard to explain. They opened strong, and it was a road game. The Cowboys are notoriously half-assed on the road, so
uh-huh.
yeah. So did you say you're picking the Ravens?
Of course.
Okay, so we're both picking the Ravens. Next up, we got the 49ers going to LA to play the just life support Rams from this point onward. No more Puka and no more Cooper Cup. What are you
Yeah, I
going
think
to do?
LAR might stand for Life Assist Rams right now.
It might as well. I'm definitely picking the Niners, even though they still don't have McCaffrey. Now Debo's out too. I still think they got plenty enough talent left over to make the Rams look pretty ridiculous. I think the Rams season is on life support right now. Yeah.
All right, so during this game, am I allowed to do my grand rant about Sean McVay?
You are, but keep it under 2 minutes.
I don't need to. I'm picking the 49ers.
Okay. You can just say how his coaching makes good players get hurt, and then we'll leave it at that.
I mean, not only his coaching makes puts really good players in terms of injury risk, but he regularly throws away games by punting in places where there is no benefit for punting. Regularly gives away at least 3 or 4 games every single year in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean there might be some. You might have a point there. I haven't watched enough body of work to confirm or deny what you're saying, but I believe you if you've watched a lot of games.
Oh yeah. I watch every Rams game I can.
Why is that? Just to keep the hatred alive?
No, they're my second favorite team, dude.
They're your
Like,
second favorite team, but you hate the head coach, too.
I like the head coach. I just hope he gets fired.
Okay, that
He's a
seems
great
to be
guy.
in conflict.
He's a great guy. Like, I don't wish him any ill at all. Except I hope he gets fired.
Okay, for Sunday night, we have the Chiefs going to Atlanta And I want so much for Kirk to be the Mahomes slayer, but with how just barely they beat the Eagles and how dominant the Chiefs defense has been like the last 2 or 3 seasons since Mahomes has been there, really, honestly, saving grace.
Uh-huh.
You can't pick the Falcons. It's just it's like, even though the Chiefs lost their running back, I don't really think it's going to matter.
This would be an awesome story if Atlanta actually manages to pull this off and
Uh,
turn a new leaf off of a great victory like this.
that would be so great.
Um, it would be so great, and it is so unlikely. The Chiefs are not only a team without a weakness, but they're also a team that can play through mistakes and win games. They're so clutch, that they're so good in all three phases of the game. They don't make a lot of stupid penalties. Andy Reid is running a tight ship, even though you look at him and you would think he would sink any ship that he would stand on.
Okay.
The Chiefs are great. Andy Reid's a great coach, and I'm taking the Chiefs for sure.
Yep, as am I. God help Kirk. All right, and then Monday we have 2 games basically at the same time, head scratchingly.
Really cool.
We've got first up the Jaguars going to Bills or Buffalo in the slightly early game, and I think the Bills will feast on the spiraling Jaguars. And I've been giving the Jags a lot of hatred like the last 2 seasons because they were so good like 3 seasons ago, and then last season they just had that epic collapse, and it's just continued. So.
I think this one's going to be closer than you think. If you were to give me like 2 points for picking the Jags, I would actually pick them.
Oh, you mean count for 2 wins?
Yeah, if that would count for like 2 wins in our contest, I would actually pick the Jags there.
Maybe we can. Maybe when we do this next season, we can make some extra rules. Let's keep it simple this season.
In a simple pick 'em, I've got to take the Bills. They're a very good team. They've been playing a little bit under their standard so far this season. Although honestly, like in week 2 against the Dolphins, right, they could have put up another 3 touchdowns, and they were merciful enough not to.
I'll say they basically benched like Allen in like the second half or the end of the second quarter, essentially.
I mean, they benched Tua as well. Yeah. Buffalo is just such a stats team. Josh Allen is hard to pick against. I actually think the Jags are a lot better than you think they are.
I don't think they're wretched. They're certainly
on
not.
A good day, they'll put it together. On a good like they have the pieces there. They're doing it sometimes. They're just playing really sloppy.
Right now, I would say they're at the level of the Rams post Cup and Kua injury.
I would definitely take Jackson that game. Anyhow, yeah. It would be insane of me to go against the Bills in a simple pick 'em here. I got to take Buffalo. Circle the wagons.
Yep. And then lastly, we have Washington going to Cincinnati against the Bengals that are 0-2. And I mean, you got to believe it. You got to believe this will be the beginning of the bounce back for the Bengals. You just have to, right?
I don't know that they're actually going to bounce back this season, but they're going to win this game for sure. Yeah, Cincinnati has a big chip on their shoulder after they're 0-2. They do not want to be 0-3. Going against the worst defense in the NFL. Even this like slightly struggling, slow to start offense, which again happened because some of their receivers were holding out from camps and preseason games and whatever because they couldn't get contracts done, and they deserved those contracts. So Cincinnati has started very slow, but yeah, the Redskins defense is a cure for what ails you as an offense. I don't know if they're going to put it together from a bunch of games going forward. Cincinnati is absolutely winning this one. Yeah, this is my lock of the week.
Your lock, okay. Yep, I'm going to go for Bengals too, obviously, just absolutely. Because I've been watching the Redskins suck ass my whole life.
Yep. What you got? And the Redskins, they just won their Super Bowl, basically. They beat the Giants.
Okay, yeah, battle of the bottom, yeah.
There's going to be a come down after that, I think.
All right. Oh, we got to do our special thingamabob.
Yeah. Have you put on your thinking cap yet?
Uh, I was. No, I haven't.
I
But
can
you tell
solve for
me
some
yours
time for you if you
first.
want.
No,
All right.
you just don't. It doesn't have to be crazy. Just go on.
All right. So here's my prop bet. There are several different teams in the NFL whose logo
Oh
is
God.
just their initials. All right. We've got the New York Giants. We've got the Green Bay Packers, the Tennessee Titans, the San Francisco 49ers, the LA Rams, the Kansas City Chiefs,
Oh my God.
the
This is
Washington
already
Commanders,
stupid.
and the Cincinnati Bengals. And here's my bold fucking pick. Oh, the Ravens too, but let's not count them. Uh, they're basically just a giant bird head with a little bee on it. They don't count. Okay, so here's my pick. Here's my bold pick. All of those games are going to be at least a 14-point spread. Every single one of those games will be won by 14 points or more.
Okay.
Blowout for every team that has a letter as their logo.
Yeah, you'll have to jot that convoluted shit down.
I have it as initials as logo, greater than, equal sign, 14-point margin.
All right, I came up with one.
All right, what kind of stupid shit do you got?
Nowhere near as ridiculous as that nonsense you just came up with.
That was creative and bold, and I'm proud of it.
I'm going to say that 3 teams that lose in week 3 will have 2 defensive touchdowns.
Ooh, 3 teams will have 2 defensive touchdowns and still lose in week 3.
Yes.
Wow. Any guesses on what they might be? That doesn't have to be part of your bet, but just what you think it might come from.
I think the Steelers and Cowboys could do it. Cowboys have always had a high scoring defense. Def. I don't know who else other than those two. Maybe the Browns. I don't know. Maybe the Jets. But I'm gonna say 3. Yeah.
Maybe the Bears.
Yeah. Maybe 2. Yeah. That's right. The Bears. Yeah. But so
Yeah,
3 teams that lose will have 2 defensive touchdowns.
and we'll count special teams touchdowns into that.
Yeah. Same thing.
All right, cool. All right, pretty fun week of picks. I think we only differ on 3 games this week, right?
You're the one jotting it down. You tell me.
Yeah, we got Philly, New Orleans, Pittsburgh Chargers, and Green Bay, Tennessee. There were kind of a lot of games that I think might be spicy, but it's so hard to pick against like a heavy favorite in them.
All right. A lot less to keep track of this week. All
All
right.
right,
That does
see
it
if
for
your boy
week.
Jason can get back to the top of the hill on week 3.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.